Hi, I'm Chris Boudreaux. I'm the Operations Systems Coordinator at Conway Corporation, and this is how I work. I had an opportunity to move to Conway as a GIS coordinator is where I started, and I was working in Little Rock. And I seen a job posting. Matter of fact, my boss brought the job posting to me and said there was an opportunity here. They were looking for someone with that skill set. I didn't know much about Conway, honestly, but I was looking for a new job, new experience. So back in 1999, I took the opportunity, interviewed for the job in engineering, and hadn't looked back since. It's been a really great opportunity, good experience, mostly because I had an opportunity to begin something from the ground up and start the mapping system here. The GIS stands for the Geographic Information System, and what that does simply is put map details of our utilities into a computer system. So there's a large database of information, the I part of that. The G is the geographic part of it, and then the system, of course, is bringing all of that together. So what we can do now is once the system is gathered into the computer system, we can support that out through our electric usage, water, sewer, and cable designers and staff in the field. They can look at the system as a whole, and that's where the system part of that GIS comes in. So those three kind of make up a universe of all the pieces we have of the utility: power poles, fire hydrants, cable implementations, all the way out from the station that feeds it, from the head end, let's say, to the customer, all the way through. Once we did the original inventory, if you will, of this different four systems, it absolutely continues to expand, to grow. A big part of our job is maintenance. So what we do have in the system has to be maintained for changes. Pipe size changes, wires changing, all of those things that have to happen. End of life of any of those features all come through our team, and they have to update the digital maps. And that was one of the biggest, I think, one of the biggest advantages of having this in the digital system was it's very difficult we can make changes in an engineering piece of paper, but it was difficult to get that distributed back out. Most of the time, by the time the book got updated, we had already made another set of changes. And I was involved in early parts of that, where we would actually develop map systems, book systems that would replace the old map systems with our data, but we couldn't keep up with it. It was impossible to do. So if you kind of fast forward that 10 years from my beginning, in the early 2000s, we began to look at mobility, getting things on iPads and those kind of things. So that's another major thing that we did. They started out with tough laptops, tough books, and that was the first iteration prior to an iPad coming on board. But you're exactly right. That is one of the benefits, and it's all wireless. The updates come at night generally when they're off duty. As soon as they fire their machine back up, any updates that have to be synced to the device are just kind of automatically brought in. So it's really handy, and we can keep them up to date as opposed to maybe 2 or 3 times a year update in a book series. Sure. So it's really advantageous. The thing beyond that then is that's push information. We're getting feedback from them through the digital enterprise as well. So imagine that they are changing a power pole or a transformer, where they can then report that back to us inside of the mapping system. We receive that notification electronically, we make those changes, and then ship the results back out to them. So it's a two-way communication street now. I call myself a resource, and I like that part of it. Where I was before I got to Conway Corporation, it was a job, and it was a career. But this is different for me because when you live in a community, you're part of it. But it does have some future growth. It's not stagnant. And that resource comment was about the fact that I have different wings of what I can get myself involved in and keep myself active. And I enjoy the idea that it's being utilized. This could be just a mapping system that just stores information. But once you start relying on it and bringing in new systems and new users and new teams of people that rely on that, it is really rewarding to understand that you had a kind of a part of that team building exercise, and someone's using it every day. It's a little stressful when someone needs it and there may be some problem with it. Of course, that goes with the territory, but the overall is really, really rewarding. I told someone a long time ago, when I first knew that we were a hit is when I'd walk down the halls of engineering and every computer screen had our maps system on it. And that meant everything to me. It meant that people could use it. They relied on it and they trusted it to be good. So we took that on our shoulders to say, well, we're going to improve it, and constantly we're going to work on techniques to make sure that that stays that way, that people don't ever just say, well, we don't need it or whatever. So that was, I think to me, that was the most rewarding thing. And that came pretty quick. It wasn't the latest things. It was some of those days when I didn't know how this was going to go. I wasn't sure. It's expensive what we do, and it takes a lot of time and effort. And it was years before a really good reward came out of it. So recognizing first the engineering staff could use it before there was any way to get it out into the field. Those early days is what set everything up so that we can then have what we have today.